Welcome to this episode of Diaspora Scholars TV. So we are in Louisiana, actually Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We came all the way. It's Memorial Day weekend. It's now Sunday, and we came to listen to a church service. And today's preacher, guess what? It was Professor Fulbert Namwamba.
Yes.
He's not only a professor, he's also a preacher as well. He's also a father.
Yes.
Are you a grandfather?
No.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. So we want to ask you a little bit about how you're able to balance, your professional life. Your wife is a professor.
That's correct.
I mean, you come from a family of people who've gone to school up to the very end of it all.
I try.
You try. I mean.
So, first let me say simple and straight.
I like that.
I'm a lawyer with no apology. So I sent Sadamos to my wife.
Yes, thank you.
In Maryland. The folks in Budalangi.
Please
my cousin Babu Namwamba.
The name of your wife.
Professor Grace Namwamba. My brother John Bosco, Dr. John Bosco Namwamba, the guy who was playing the guitar. Dr. Ronald Okwemba, who invited me to this interview. Dr. Moses Ihachi. The thing about life is that if you don't get that balance, you'll miss out. I do not live on the ivory tower. True, in my journey, I've gone through the steps from assistant professor, associate professor, full professor, changed my universities, and had to go through tenure a second time.
A second time?
Yes. Published, written books. I've even written a dictionary of Lunyala English, which is a Luya English dictionary.
Wonderful.
And I've learned along the way. Getting that balance, you have to sort for that balance. The first one is by nature, every African is spiritual. Now, every African may not be religious, but every African is spiritual. So you wonder, all these guys have pointed out to you in this church, Dr. Moses, who I see here, Dr. Bosco, Dr. Okwemba, what is it that brings them close to God? And I tell you, it's the journey of their life. Along the journey of our lives, we faced up and down. In the US, there's people who've come and had a free ride, and there's people who've come and hit the bottom, and there's people who've disappeared off the radar. There's Kenyans who've disappeared off the radar. Wako chini ya maji. When you deal with these challenges, unlike home where you can run to the village and spend the rest of your days drinking busa, in America there's no village to run to. There's no clan to come and rescue you. So, at that stage, even though you are already a Christian, you discover God.
You discover God.
You discover God. And when you discover God, God humbles you. I'll tell you up front.
Yes.
I was the top student in Rift Valley for my KCPE.
Wow.
I was the top student at Mango High School, O level. I was in a class at Alliance High School that was the top in the country. But what did the US do to me? The US humbled me. The US humbled me. I can explain. I'm a person who lost an assistantship while pursuing my first master's degree. I lost my assistantship while pursuing my second master's degree.
What are you talking about?
And I lost my assistantship while pursuing my doctorate degree. But I stand here proud. 194 credit hours later, I stand here as a full professor.
Oh my God.
That's how I discovered Jesus.
We can't stop doing this. That's what we do at Diaspora Scholars TV, to bring you real life stories, inspirational stories, life-changing stories. This is the story of Professor Fulbert Namwamba. Did you listen to what he said? He lost assistantship at every stage of his academic journey. But look at him now. He is a full professor with accolades to go with it.
Yes, one of the rides after I moved out, this professor told me, I want to tell you something, Fulbert. Stop pursuing the PhD. You are not doctoral material. That is one. The second one was, my supervisor was a fellow African, a Nigerian. He told me he's not impressed by my credentials. And he told me, just forget it. First, you'll never get a PhD. Secondly, if you ever get a PhD, you'll never be a professor. If somebody makes the mistake of hiring you as a professor, the class will walk out on you. And I told him, you don't know my God. That was my answer. I didn't answer him, you don't know my God. You are not the God who brought me from Kenya. You are not the one, you are not there with me when I was topping my class in high school, and you will not stop me. And God answered.
God has answered all those prayers.
Yes.
You had God even from the beginning. I mean, you were top of the class all through. I mean, it's still God.
But losing those assistantships in the US humbled me. And when they humbled me, it's when you are humbled, that's when you discover God. Like Jacob, when he knew Esau was going to kill him, it was obvious that there's no way Jacob was going to fight Esau. Esau had bigger, stronger men. Jacob was a liar and a crook. Everything was against him. And he honestly thought his brother was going to kill him. Instead, Esau said, my brother. And he hugged him. In the same way, in all these incidents, I walked out of the room and the next day I have financing for my classes. 3 times. I never missed finances despite my finances being cut.
Some of these personalities you are mentioning, how are they doing? I mean, it makes me really wonder. I've interacted with you today, and you are a very humble person, a very forgiving person.
Yeah, I've moved on.
You've moved on.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you speak to many students. I'm really curious for you to tell us a little bit about your 16-year journey at Southeastern University. I mean, Southern.
Yes.
Southern. Those are two.
He was at Southeastern.
So there is Southern University
and the Southeastern University.
Oh.
Yes.
Tell me then a little bit about your journey there.
So my wife got the job at Southern University. Mm-hmm. Then I applied for the job, but the funds were under what was called desegregation. So the committee decided to offer the position to a white professor, claiming that this is a black university. Since these are desegregation funds, it must necessitate that they're not going to give it to a black man to be a professor. So I moved here after my doctorate degree and I got my job at Louisiana Department of Environmental Quality. Mm-hmm. The gentleman they took to give that job of GIS and hydrology, he came and he gave them condition. It turned out that he had a challenge of he was legally blind. Mm-hmm. And he told them to double the salary and they couldn't. And they were desperate now because classes were beginning on Monday. I came back from work at DQ and found a letter under my door offering me the position. Everybody would have said, don't take it, but because I knew they didn't have a GIS department and they didn't have a hydrology program, I took the bull by the horns. And by the time I left, I had 2 functioning GIS labs, each with 25 seats. Wow. I had a GIS analysis lab, I had a remote sensing lab, and I graduated close to anywhere between 15 to 20 PhD students. Wow. And about 26 master's students.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, so
that is really commendable. I mean, you've done a lot and you are still doing it. And I mean, the records are there to speak for itself. And if you are watching and you just started your career, I mean, look at what Professor just said, take it with good stride, be forgiving. Humble yourself if you must, because that's the only way to get...
Not if you must, humble yourself, end of story.
You said,
there's no... if you are paying attention to my preaching today, I didn't talk about humble yourself if you must. I said humble yourself. End of story. Period.
There's no other way.
Period.
It's humility 100%.
Yes. Yes. If I didn't have the humility, I tell you, when this guy told me, you are nothing, you'll never be a professor, you'll never have your PhD. If I didn't have humility, I'd have hit that man very hard and walked away with it. There's a time when I felt that I'd be happier growing corn in Kitale because the people I'd left in Kitale were now big farmers in Kitale. But I just said, yes, sir. And I turned around, and when I reached downstairs, I found 2 people talking, and they said, hey, here is Fulbert. Fulbert, you have assistantship from Dr. So-and-so. I didn't tell them. I had just lost the assistantship 2 minutes ago. They said, this position, team Him here has been teaching surveying, but got a job with Pioneer Genetics. We desperately need somebody to teach surveying. Can you teach surveying? I said yes. The only surveying training I had was at Kubifora Field School when I worked at the museum. I just went to my house and I found a gentleman called Dr. Adion Chinkoyo, who was my roommate. And I told him, you took the surveying, yeah? Well, I'm teaching surveying. You are going to teach me. Well, every Saturday we went with the chain and we arranged the labs, and I arranged and I got the PowerPoints from this guy. And I taught that surveying class, and the evaluations were very good, and the students did very well.
That's another lesson right there.
Yes, sir.
Put yourself in positions where even if you think you can't, you can.
Don't be a crybaby. That's the point.
Don't be a
The US, and I believe Kenya, is no place for crybabies. God will bring you up, okay? But to use a Swahili term, inahitaji kujiamini. You have to be confident. You need to know your talents. You need to know your qualities. Then you have to have the confidence that when you are given that task, because even during that study, I had come with a master's in geology, master's in geography, and I asked this guy, and I was now in water resources engineering, and I asked him when I was to do my PhD qualifying exam. He said, you'll do it at the end of the year. I told him, do you realize that I didn't do a master's or bachelor's in engineering? He told me, I don't care. I had 7 months to do the same qualifying exams with people who had bachelor's and master's in agricultural engineering. And I aced that exam. I aced it.
Oh my God.
How I aced it is a different story. And no more Kenya, nothing. I didn't steal the
No crybabies.
Yes.
Humble yourself.
Yes. There's no time to be a crybaby.
There's no time. You'd rather use that time to engage with what you're supposed to engage in.
Yes. A crybaby, as my father told me, if your father is a minister in Kenya or something, or some governor, and your family is living off stolen funds, then you can keep on switching from here to here. If you have humble roots like me or Dr. Moses here, there's no time to be a crybaby, man. You gotta do what you gotta do. And I tell you this, even not myself, but just in chemistry department where Moses was at Louisiana State University, there were all these Kenyans from Moi University, from Kenyatta University, from whatever. And they came and they did excellently until every professor wanted a Kenyan graduate student. That in 1 year, Louisiana State University graduated 15 Kenyan PhDs in 1 year, more than Kenyatta and Nairobi University combined. 15 PhDs.
Kenyan PhDs from one school, 1 year. 15,
yes.
1-5.
Yes. I can tell you their names, Dr. Rugut. I remember them. And there was an African American who was the chair of chemistry department. He said the Kenyans are amazing. Everybody wants Kenyans. So I'm telling my Kenyan brothers and my South African brothers, you've got the right DNA. You've got the right DNA, and that's the DNA of resilience. Resilience, that is the key. That's why I say it's for somebody who is resilient, will survive this country, will swim the waters of academia. But this is not the place for crybabies. If you're a crybaby, go somewhere and buy your degree.
That's why we do this, folks. Every weekend we go state to state, country to country. I mean, even if it means going by road, by air, whichever way, to find you people like Professor Fulbert Namwamba. Did you listen to what he said? Were you paying attention? I'm sure you were, because we are not stopping here. We'll keep on talking to him because he's full of knowledge, full of experience, full of wisdom. And you guess what? He is not done yet, because in part 3 we're going to wrap it up, because again it was a short notice, but what we got here we can't really thank him enough. Asante sana Bwana Daktari. You've inspired me. I feel so energized. The pain I had driving 12 hours is gone away by coming here. This community is different. Jasmine made me change. I was supposed to go to Alabama this weekend.
Yes.
Jasmine talked to me until I changed my mind to come here.